Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 1% Tribe edition of The Prize Inside. Tonight, we go over thoughts, toxins, traumas. Anything that gets in the way of innate intelligence is what we're here for. Tonight is what I call in the trauma category. So we're going to talk about shoulders. Shoulders, we've hit this in times past, so that we've done frozen shoulders. So remember that as we go, if you're ever interested or, you'd like to see that, video, all you have to do is become a subscriber to The Prize Inside, a chiropractic journey on Rumble, or The Prize Inside, a chiropractic journey on YouTube, one of those two. Or if you'd like to listen to it, look up The Prize Inside, a chiropractic journey on Spotify, on all those different things. So just to let you all know that, those are where those old past videos will be. So that, and then the last thing before we get going, remember to get on my newsletter. So it's kind of a newsletter, kind of like a place I can send you stuff. It's called tribe1.substack.com, trib1.substack.com. It's where right now I'm actually streaming live to there. And you get an email notification. It goes right to your phone when I'm on, on Sunday night and Wednesday night. This week is a little different. So remember, tribe1.substack.com. Wednesday night, I am actually taking a how to make your own cheese course. So I'm going to move our Whole Health Weekly to Tuesday night. And here's the exciting part. Tuesday night is an interview with a lady I love near and dear, went through some major stuff that I would love to pick her brain on. Her name's Mary, and we will discuss that. So we got a little interview coming up on Tuesday night, which will be fantastic. So that was good. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. We had an interesting one. It was pretty chill for the most part until one of my longtime patients needed a home for a rooster. They had two roosters and they weren't getting along, and we don't have any. So I got seven hens, and so as we go, I'm like, all right, we'll try it. I hem and hawed all week. And then she sent me beautiful pictures of the guy. And we're like, all right, we'll try it. So we've got him kind of integrating in. It sounds pretty cool to have like legit rooster with all the alls. It's like a movie with how they do the cockle-doodle-doo, man. It is crazy. So that's been pretty cool. We're integrating them into the hens as we speak. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think they're kind of the hens, man. They're like checking it out. They're like seeing what the heck's going on. Like I thought they'd be afraid of him and go everywhere else. They're like hanging around. He's got this like other cage that we're doing to kind of integrate him in. And they're like sitting around the cage, hanging out. It's pretty interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool. This week was cool. Got to go to a car show, some pretty sweet stuff like that. I saw Dr. Matt at Myers Chiropractic put on something I saw in just a glimpse. Dude broke the world record for the mile. Did you see that? He's out of, let me look that up real quick before we start. What was his name? I mean, wow, this was crazy. Yeah, 27-year-old fastest time. His name was Josh Kerr, and he was a British runner. Wow, with the time. Okay, so he broke the mile world record. 3 minutes and 43 seconds. 3:43. Which somebody, when I saw this, it broke down to like, you're running, that is that is insane. That say, okay, let me see if that's right. 3 minutes and 43 seconds for a freaking, that is insane. Is that right? All right. It does. It says world's fastest mile, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. That is crazy. It took forever for the 4-minute mile. Now we're almost 20 seconds off the pace. That is crazy. So tonight, what I wanted to do is, shoulders are really complicated. And so a lot of times, the complication comes in the various movements your shoulder actually is able to do. And that's one thing I want to kind of concentrate us on as we go forward, because it's one of those, if you start understanding the movement of the shoulder, it's a lot easier to actually do the rehab of it. A lot of these different movement patterns, you're not sure. You just do what you're thinking just because based on the shoulder. But imagine we have this joint that can move in so many different ways. It's not the same as, I use the car analogy a ton, but this is like, imagine if your wheels, on your car, you go sideways, forward, backward, reverse, and all the wheel actually shifted. You know what I mean? Like that kind of situation where the shoulder has so much range of motion that we have to figure out basically what's happening with the shoulder before we're going to actually end up being able to do some good rehab, maybe at home or, those kind of things, and really get there. Because I've seen it myself, like as you go, you can get out of a lot of things. You can be stronger than you once were. We just have to understand that knowledge is what will get us to those different, that different point. So with that said, sorry, I was looking, my dogs were sitting right behind me and chewing on bones. That was hilarious. But so tonight's tea for the night, hibiscus and raspberry tea. After the car show and a little bit of ice cream, I'm going to have to do some more digestive flav, as they would say. All right, here we go. So tonight is Heal Your Shoulders Naturally, Holistic Approaches to Pain Relief and Mobility. Let me do one thing before we start. I want to make sure for my podcast audience, I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm going to show a few videos, a few snippets of videos. But the big thing is I want to make sure I have a way to describe it for you as well. So remember, I'm going to try to start putting the video links to what I use in the description in the comment section. So hopefully that'll help a lot, for people that want to go in there. So that'll be helpful. Okay. So holistic approaches to pain relief and mobility. So what are we going to go over tonight? We're going to go over the newest, latest, and greatest discoveries, probably, and some of the newer motions that I really like. We're going to go over a weird patterning it's fascinating to me because I'm finding it with different muscle joints and everything that could be super helpful. What are the movements we could do to improve this? And then what are the treatments that we can do? And we're going to go through not only like some exercise patterns, right? But we're also going to go through nutritional things, right? So nutritional herbal types situations that could help that shoulder out quite a bit. Plus any kind of subconscious programs that could be kind of an underlying factor behind a shoulder situation. Remember, we always look at each condition as a thought, a toxin, or a trauma. It doesn't have to be all three. It could be one in particular. So why not know as much as you can and see, oh, anything that kickstarts that innate intelligence to get you to the next level, that's where you want to be. Okay. So let's look at the different movements of the shoulder. So let me get my, where to go? Da-da-da. Where's my good one? Okay. Okay, so we're going to go to this one first. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. I'm going to share my screen. So what we're going to do is go through kind of the motion of the shoulders itself. Okay. So as we're going, we're going to look because, is this the right one? I put too many in. Okay. So you can see, watch the motion of the shoulder. Okay. One of the things is if you're watching on the thing, this is somebody raising their thumb to the ceiling as high as they can, going above your head with just one straight arm. Okay. So a lot of times that is a huge motion. You also have that same thing. Take your thumb going straight up above your head. You also can actually go to your other shoulder behind your back. You can make circles, right? You can do all these different things. You can do circles, big circles, forward, backwards. There's not a lot of joints in our life that can move this many different ways. Okay. And so a lot of times I want to get back to, let me see. That was that one. Oh, sorry. That was the wrong one. Let's see. Is this I'm missing. Okay, hang on. Nope, this isn't it either. Give me the good stuff. Oh, it must have been at the bottom. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay. So we're going to just look at the movements of the shoulder. So we got it can actually go in towards the body. It can go out towards the body. And in this thing, he's got a little video. It's pretty funny. I thought that this direction, right? So that's called adduction. Coming back to the body's abduction, you can rotate. You can rotate it, medial and laterally rotate the shoulder, right? You can raise it up or extend, right? Go behind you. There's a ton of different movement patterns that can occur there. Okay. You can even, so this one is cool in this video. It's elevation and depression, right? I forgot about that one. Elevation and depression is where your shoulder blades, like you're saying, I don't know, right? Up and down, right? So that elevation and depression are a big one. You can do retraction and protraction, right? So you can take your shoulder blades and move them away from your body, and you can bring them back into your body. So you have the retraction part. Okay. So that comes very, very big deal when it comes to the different movement patterns. And then you have what where you just raise your arm above your head, right? Okay. They're calling that lateral rotation. Okay. So it's all based on I always forget these: medial rotation coming back through, lateral rotation. They consist like going above your head. Okay. So those are all these different key elements. I thought that was a pretty good video there. And then let's go over one more because it's important. Like, not too many times we're going to go looking at these. So then look at all these muscles that are involved. So this one is shoulder extension, which is like your whole shoulder going backwards, right? As far back as you can. Kind of think of tricep dips on a bench. That's like your shoulder has to extend back. You have shoulder blade retraction, protraction. You have lateral extension, rotation. You kind of get the idea. Okay. So you can see, and each one depends on how your elbow and your wrist actually are in position to how these motions work as well. Isn't that crazy? So this is called outward from forward flexion. This is okay. So we're going across our body. Man, I should have done all the studying on the this is called horizontal adduction and abduction. So shoulder adduction. And I try to not make it complicated or ones that you got to worry about. Oh, did I not share my screen? Oh, sorry. This one's a good one. I'm going to put you back. We'll redo it. This one is a very good. Okay, so let's go back. So this is what they call shoulder flexion. That's you and your friend. So think your underhand, you're playing cornhole. That'd be shoulder flexion. Okay. So cornhole. As you extend back and throw harder, that'd be shoulder extension. Okay. So behind you, right? So that is a good one. So then, okay, we're going to go to, so that's shoulder flexion. Shoulder extensions behind you, right? So you have shoulder extension. This is the one I want you to see. Look at this. The ones that are coming across like you're slapping the person in front of you. That's called horizontal abduction. And then you have adduction, which would be going out the opposite way. So abduction coming in, adduction going out. Okay. Yep, horizontal adduction. So then now it's coming out. All right, so now we're going to go shoulder abduction is raising it up over your head, like you're raising your hand. You'd be shoulder abducting. Okay. So it doesn't really matter what the words are, but just understanding how that is. And then you have medial rotation, like you had cookies in your hand and you're trying to bring them to your gut to make sure that no one else gets these cookies. So it's inside, or like a football. It's like you have a football in your hands and you don't want people to fumble. You're going to tuck it in. So that would be this medial abduction. So you get the idea. There is a ton of movement patterns that happen in the shoulder. Now, why do I bring that up before we even talk about anything? It's because the better you can do at self-understanding the different motion patterns for yourself, on yourself, the easier or more targeted you can do on any kind of type healing type stuff. There's hundreds, thousands of different shoulder rehab exercises. Okay. And one of the things that happens is a patient will come in, and because the shoulder's so dynamic, if the shoulder starts to not work or is in pain, people will literally stop using it. Right. You stop using it to a point where that understanding becomes, we lose that understanding because we don't kind of put it through these different ranges. And then the doctor is like this miracle worker because they come in and they just check you into all those different ranges of motion. Okay. So a lot of times, and as you go, try all these things, squeeze your shoulder blades together, pull them apart, raise your arms above your head, right? Bring your arms down, turn your elbow back and forth. Okay. Raise it up straight, right? All of these different things. Once you understand that and you say, oh, wait, on rotating my arm back and forth was one of the reasons it was happening. Now, your body, because think about this, your shoulder is literally basically controlled. It can pop out at a moment's notice in a sense. If you had no muscle there, it would just almost literally fall out and have very little ligament because it has so much motion pattern in there. So you hurt a certain motion pattern, right? You hurt one of those motion patterns, the entire shoulder is going to react because it's kind of like, listen, I'm going to protect this at all costs. So it's your job to slowly kind of get in there and understanding that movement pattern, because a lot of times there's going to be times you can rehab a ton of this on your own if you understand it. The biggest thing, and in all of society as I've seen it, is that this is the one that most people tend to ignore, in the sense of, because they're so, it can be wildly painful. It's almost overwhelming to the human body just to have a shoulder injury, because it's one of those that we just don't know what to actually do, and then what occurs over time, though, is it's one of the ones that your body instantly, I believe, with your innate intelligence, starts to advance the arthritis quicker, because arthritis is a healing mechanism, shockingly, right? So kind of like rust on a hinge, it wants to get rid of that. It wants to reduce that joint down to something different if we're not going to use it. Think about that. Isn't that crazy? I just said that. Degenerative arthritis potentially is innate intelligence telling you there's something wrong in that joint, and it's trying to get you to get rid of the joint. It'd rather have you have no joint there than the pain that is experienced with the abnormal motion. Isn't that amazing? That's kind of an amazing concept, but that's why you're on the 1% Tribe on Sunday night. Okay, so those are the different movement patterns. So remember, there's several different ones. One of the biggest ones near the hip as well. The hip is pretty up there as well with movement patterns, but I say shoulder takes the cake on all of it because of how big the movement patterns can be. Okay, knowing all the different various motion patterns, and practicing each of these daily can increase your shoulder movement to a massive scale. So this is what I really, before I show you people's stuff, I want you to really get to know my stuff, because I think, if you do these things, you're going to notice a big difference, because you'll know if you know when or what your shoulder motion problem is. A lot of times you can really hone in. Let's say it's not that big a huge shoulder problem, but you're able to go through all these motion patterns. Eventually your body will start allowing that healing process to happen. Okay, so let's go through my favorite that some of you know. I need to get the video, a better video. I wonder if any docs, let me look on YouTube real quick. Okay, because there might be other chiropractors that have done this on a video. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to say, I don't think so. So me and you are going to go through it. I give credit to all the credits due. This guy named Dr. Chestnut. He is, maybe one day I might have be able to get him, but I don't know if I'm big enough for him yet. But so this is what I want you to think in your head. You're not going to see my arms because I'm not close enough. Okay. So we're going to do the YMCA, but ours is going to be called You Want to Live Longer. Okay. So instead of the Y, the M, the C, the A, right? We're going to use our arms the same way, but we're going to spell out You Want to Live Longer. Okay. So what we're going to do is take our arms all the way to the ceiling and create a Y. That's so weird okay, there you go. Okay. So we're going to create a Y, and you're going to take your thumbs and you're going to drive them back to the back of the room. You're going to pinch those shoulder blades together, and then you're going to keep your head and your ears between your elbows. Okay. So that creates the Y, and we're going to pinch your shoulder blades pretty tight. So that's that adduction, like where that retraction, we're doing that with our shoulder blades. So now we're going to take that same thing and we're going to go to want. So we're going to drop our elbows down and create a W with our arms. Sorry. Back up just a little bit. Maybe that will. Okay. So a W with our arms. So now we have this W, right? But we're retracting the shoulder blades. So we're pinching those shoulder blades together. And our W is here with our head over our ears or over our shoulders. Okay. Now we're going to extend those arms out like we're creating a T. Okay. But our thumbs are still driving backwards. Okay. So we're there. Shoulder blades are attached or retracted still. That's the T. So you have U to the D, W, you want to. And then you're going to take one elbow at a time. You're going to drive it into your rib cage to create the L. Live longer. Okay. So that's the first one I would suggest. You want to live longer. If you need help on it, let me know. I'll get something going. That is not a problem. The other one I absolutely adore is little circles, big circles. You just do as many little circles as you can in the morning and at night, kind of getting those shoulders warmed up. Okay. Now, at first, you're not going to be able to do it, but watch the percentage improvement. Watch the percentage. I think, with innate intelligence, you have this advancement of arthritis. You also, in my opinion, have a lot of advanced healing because it is a potential, if the motion still keeps going, that you can do a lot for your shoulder, versus having to constantly always have shoulder surgeries and all those kind of things. Okay. So those are the ones you want to live longer and little circles, big circles. Those are my two major ones. Okay. So these are the YouTube videos. I want to make sure you guys have a link to. Hang on. I always love this night, especially just because I try to add little things each time. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put these in the chat before we go over them. Comment. So this is our first one is 5 exercises for shoulder pain relief. No more impingement by Tone and Titan. And this was done in 2024. Okay. So we're going to go there. So we're going to get rid of this. Okay. Share screen. That is not what I want. Let's see. Playlist. Okay, where did I go? So it is. Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, I guess we're going to start with a different one. We're going to do. I really want to start with this one. So this one's called 3 Quick Ways to Get Natural Relief from Shoulder Pain. Excuse me. And let me make sure I get the link in the YouTube area. Putting it out there. Boom. Oh, boom. Okay. So the reason we're doing this is big. The number one reason is because we want to see. This one's a very interesting one. So we'll talk about it. This is not it. This is just some kind of ad of something, which is always the truth. Okay. So this guy is raising his arms above.
You're reaching up at an angle, then move your shoulder blade in that angle. The reason for this, here's the big why, and this is why the pain will diminish tremendously.
Okay, here we go.
Heal your shoulder. And number 2 is using the rule of the hand. Now, the rule of the hand means it's something that I've developed, and I have a video that talks way more about it. You can find a link somewhere on the screen here to go see that video. But in summary, really quick explanation is wherever your hand goes, like when you're reaching for things or doing exercises, like if you're doing a chest press or an overhead press, wherever your hand goes, your shoulder blade should follow it. So if your hands are going forward, shoulder blades should go forward. If your hand's going upwards, shoulder blades should go upwards. If you're reaching towards your body or behind your body, then your shoulder blade should pinch backwards, and anywhere in between. So if you're reaching up at an angle, then move your shoulder blade in that angle. The reason for this, here's the big why, and this is why the pain will diminish tremendously, is because if you're thinking about the ball and socket joint of the shoulder, this is the right ball and socket joint right here.
Okay, so what he's saying basically is we have this shoulder blade motion. What you want to do is like the one exercises that I really like him doing. We're going to skip a little bit. If you bring that shoulder blade back and you kind of reset that area, you're going to be sitting really, really good. Now, this is what I wanted to show you in his video that I liked. Okay.
Because I'll tell you why in just a second. You're going to lie down with two pillows, one for your head and one.
This is a key piece, guys. So even if you're like, oh man, I do bodybuilding and all these kind of things. This exercises can be so critical because of the easiness of it. And that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. Sometimes easy motion is an okay thing.
One for your arm. The pillow that goes under your arm right here is going to be supporting your elbow with your arm at about 90 degrees right here. It's okay to go lower if it hurts to be at this position, but generally you're going to be at about 90 degrees. And then you're going to bend your elbow at about 90 degrees, and I'll show you how to move it. So lie down just like this, get the pillow under you. And the reason for the pillow is because without a pillow, then your arm's going to be down like this, and it tends to put some unnecessary strain on your shoulder joint because it moves the ball into a bad position on the socket. But if you have the pillow in place, it tends to be a lot more comfortable. So 90 degrees at the shoulder, 90 degrees at the elbow, comfortable with your legs and head. And then all you're going to do, here's the exercise. You're going to let the arm slowly fall this way as much as you can go without forcing it and no pain. And then you're going to go the other way. And you're just rolling your hand back and forth like this. Now you might feel a little bit of a stretch. That's okay. I wouldn't stretch into it. Just get to the edge of the stretch. And you're just going to rotate back.
Okay, for my podcast listeners, what we're watching is this physical therapist. He's laying on his back. He put a pillow under his arm. And so he's laying on his back, looking up at the ceiling, put his elbow at 90, and is just starting to rotate back and forth with no pressure on there. One of the things that we know as doctors is that a lot of times, a great deal of times, your shoulder motion has to do with a few things, right? So in each doctor, there's orthopedic tests that'll actually show this. They'll test you for muscle problem versus ligament problem, okay? If it's a muscle problem, it does happen, right? But you must hit both the muscle and the ligament regardless. So a lot of times with this guy in this physical therapy, you're laying on your back, your arm's on your pillow, okay? So you put a pillow underneath your arm to kind of help with that traction aspect, and just raise it up like you're pulling down on a cord, right? And so you're going through that. Now, why would you do that? If I have good motion with no muscle, very little movement in there, or one of my favorites to think about is like the knee. Okay. So what I found that's huge with the knee is if I can get people to move back and forth, like let's say they're on a swing with no weight on it, on that knee, the improvement of that joint, the knee, I've seen mastery stuff, like people getting much improvement where they were going to essentially be on the table with knee replacement. They, and then instead of just pounding the crap out of that knee, getting it stronger, which is always a good idea, but they also focused on just getting the motion back into that joint. That's what I want you to think about. Let's get that entire shoulder, get the motion back to the shoulder. How are you going to do that? One of the best ways is what we would call non-weight bearing kind of exercises, ones that you're floating in gravity. That's why a lot of shoulder problems go away when you're in a pool, those kind of things. So this one, I thought, so think that direction, lay on your back, put a pillow underneath that shoulder and move it back and forth, right? Put it in all those different directions without the muscle movement having to stress out as well. You'll get better results because the body, the innate intelligence is very smart. If I tell my joint, hey, I want to go all the way to the ceiling, okay? I want to get all the way up there. But at this moment in time, I can't. Okay. If that's true, then if I lay on my back, though, and I allow gravity to kind of pull my hand all the way to to above my head, what's that telling the innate intelligence of your body? You're intentionally making motion in something that you don't have just yet, but over time, innate intelligence will start to hear what you're saying. I learned this a long time ago with a bodybuilder. One of the things that was absolutely proof positive on bodybuilding, I was watching this kid at chiropractic school. I'll never forget it because, I loved throwing around heavy weights and all those kind of things. And this kid at the very end of his workout would put on massive amounts and he's a big kid, but let's say he was max benching, let's say 300 pounds. Okay. And we'll just use that for example. At the end of his actual workout, he would actually put 350 pounds on the bar and then just kind of hold that bar for a few seconds, right? Not bench it, but just hold it. Now, why did he do that? The reason he did that was because the neurology, the innate intelligence of your body is saying, hey, wait a minute. This dude's about to lift 350 pounds at some point. So I better get my body, my joints prepared to be able to do that. It's very similar to what we're doing here. If I can take your motion of your arm through that entire thing with no stress to those muscles, where the muscles don't have to work, even though let's say that's the injury part is the muscle, let's say, right? If that is the case, the innate intelligence will start to help you with the cells of that area. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. I love that idea. The slow motion of all those different things is really, really worth it. So, oh man, this is such an interesting topic to me, but okay. So let's see what our next video is. Well, let me get into that first. So let's get out of there. But you saw the idea of what that guy was doing. I kind of like this. Okay, so this one was pretty cool. All right. I'm going to put this YouTube video in the chat as well while this guy's talking, which is get all the alls. All right, here we go. So this one, we're going to do pendulum swings are pretty awesome. So we'll go into that. Okay. So pendulum swings are what we were talking about. So pendulum, like a pendulum that's kind of just hanging, right? So he's doing just straight forward. I would suggest you can kind of rotate the entire system in there. Just let your arm hang and get that kind of motion in there. All right. So that's a good one. All right. So we're going to go to the next one. It's called a wall slide. So these are different types of pendulums. So wall slides are another decent one. I would say I would rather have you on your back, to be honest with you. So wall slides are basically just using the wall as assistance to bring your shoulder up above that range of motion, right? We're really about, no matter what age we are, we really want to kind of challenge the body in these different ways. Wall slides are a really good idea. So, and for my podcast people, wall slides are you put your hand in front of you on the wall, and then you try to with your entire body push that arm or hand, one hand at a time, up to as high as you possibly can reach, being overhead. The thing that you were told you can't do anymore, right? And so a lot of times these wall pieces, using that wall and tracking that arm up, could be massively good for the improvement overall. Okay. So I thought that one was good. I think that's all I got from him. I always say, like, always nervous nowadays from if you I want to like promote these people, but then YouTube or whatever, they get all butthurt. They got some fantastic videos that is nice to have guys that come out there. So I've had quite a few different ones. The big players are the ones that like come after you. I think I was Wim Hof one time. I was just doing one of his breathing things. Oh my goodness. It was like going to knock out the whole video or whatever, but that's how it goes sometimes. But so you see that the idea tonight is imagine like getting your whole shoulder workout back. Let's say you haven't been able to raise your hand above your head in 2 years. How do we do it? Wouldn't it be smart to see if you can? In the sense of maybe we can't do it with the muscle system, but can we lay on the floor and do it? Can we travel up a wall and do it? Yes. And that's the key. The other one that I want to bring in is a broomstick handle type situation where you grab the bottom one with your good arm, the top one with the bad, and then bring that broomstick and push with the broomstick up above your head and kind of do that thing. Okay. So that one was a really good one. All right. And I think, all right, I really like this. Let's go through the little stretches that this lady has, and then I'll quit bothering you on the stretching. Hopefully it makes sense. The biggest key takeaway tonight, though, for me, so what she's doing here is what they call shoulder retraction. So shoulder retraction is where you're pinching your shoulder blades back, pulling them far forward. Then you're going to do some shoulder rolls. These are all so huge, but no one seems to think of these, right? Just doing that whole thing. Now she's doing where she brings that in. Don't worry about your elbows. Shoulder retraction, coming back. Then you can bring to that. See how she's going forward? Yep. Just like that. So she is doing like yoga style shoulder, beautiful, beautiful stuff. A lot of times the big thing is understanding. Hopefully I was showing that. I don't think I was. Oh, let me go back. I did not. Sorry, guys. That one was a really good one. Okay. So let's go back to her front end here. Here we go. So what we're doing is, and my podcast people, we are watching a lady in yoga in a cross-sitting position, like cross-legged, and she's just shoulder retraction, going back and forth and rolling that, okay? So she's rolling it back and forth, doing a up and down with the breathing portions. I believe partly one of the reasons we have so much shoulder problems in our world is because of our lack of understanding of breathing. So that's one of them. And then she's going to, after she's done with these, we're going to basically put our palms on our own shoulders and just roll the entire shoulder back and forth. We want to do that a little bit. And then once you're there, you do a prayer out away and then above your head using both arms in kind of a swimming fashion. Okay. So I'll put this video as well in the comments. Hopefully you guys will get this as well. These are all good. If you belong to my tribe1, trib1.substack.com, you will get these links, I promise, so that you can really, really watch a bunch of these. So isn't that cool? I just absolutely adore watching different shoulder motions, especially those, because I really believe that we can get out of this thing. Okay. So there is, and that one was called, if you put it in YouTube, Yoga for Shoulder Pain, 15-minute shoulder pain relief stretches and exercises by Yoga with Joel. So very, very cool. Okay, so now let's talk about a little bit of what we can do herbally to see the shoulder improvement. Okay, so what can we do in the herbal realm that would help with shoulders? Okay, so shoulders, ton of ligament, ton of inflammation. Chronic inflammation happens a ton here. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on turmeric. Okay, so anti-inflammatory herbs, right? Not just turmeric, but turmeric with curcumin. Remember, curcumin is the active ingredient within turmeric. So it has its strong anti-inflammatory properties. It is often combined with black pepper, which you guys all know, piperine, and that gives you better absorption if they're both there. Studies of curcumin and similar formulations show benefits for musculoskeletal pain and arthritis-like symptoms. And so you typically use, if you go to the turmeric route, it's between 500 and 1,000 milligrams daily. So you can do either like a tincture. There is this fresh turmeric thing called golden milk. If you've watched my turmeric talk, you would know how to make that. So remember to get on Tribe or the Price Inside on Rumble and YouTube, and it's back in the old videos there. Boswellia. Boswellia is a really, really good it helps big time with the inflammatory pathways of the musculoskeletal systems. And so some research shows it might help support pain and mobility as well, or joint mobility and pain. So that's pretty cool. Often paired with turmeric for the synergistic. And then you want to use 300 to 500 milligrams of that 2 to 3 times a day. Ginger is another one. Ginger is another anti-inflammatory that's fantastic. Can help with the soreness as well. Can have a lot of those kind of things. Devil's Claw. Devil's Claw is a really good pain reliever. Okay. So this one is very true for back, joint, and musculoskeletal pain. It's one that if people are interested in herbals and get rid of their aspirins or anything, this one I recommend highly. It actually, there's some evidence of it reducing inflammation, improving function of conditions like arthritis. And so you don't need a ton. Just stomach ulcers are the contraindication. But the big thing is most of these you want to take with your doctor knowing, especially your herbal guy or your medical doctor. The other area I wanted to talk about tonight, though, is creams, ointments and creams. Last bunch of months, I've been really focused on this. Very nice way to take things, especially when you have a painful joint condition. So there's several different ones. I want to go through them because we don't know which one's going to be the right fit for you. But it could be a pretty cool kicker, as like understanding these different ones, because a lot of people don't know there's actual creams and actual herbal actions that occur because of these. Okay. So topical herbal creams and ointments and ligaments. And these are 3 or 4 of them that we're going to go through. Then some of them have actual benefits to them, especially the first one, arnica. Arnica is very popular for bruising, strains, muscle soreness because of its medicinal effects. So it's anti-inflammatory and analgesic. You look for arnica gel, cream, or ointment. We always carry it at the office. It's really, really good in the shoulder area because of how much stuff usually happens. So you have ligament and muscle stuff occurring in there. And so shoulders and arnica are a big one. It has some kind of muscle healing as well. So that is one of the herbal actions that's in there. Comfrey. These are creams with comfrey. It's an herb. Okay. It's known as the knit bone for its tissue supporting allantoin used in creams for joint and muscle pain. So comfrey is a nice herbal that is in a lot of different ones for joint and muscle pain. And then this one is comfrey. The reason you hear it too much is as an herb, because you're not going to probably eat this one. It's not something they recommend you digesting, but putting it on your body, that's a pretty good one. You see this in a lot of formulations too. Okay, cayenne pepper, cayenne cream. This one, it's going to give you you're going to feel different for sure. No, I'm just kidding. So cayenne cream, this is from chili peppers. it actually depletes the signals that cause pain, which is good for chronic and muscle joint pain. But you want to start with a lower concentration if you want to go with a cayenne type cream. Okay. Here's another one that I really liked. There's a scent, if people are into, which is another world I'd love to get into, but I don't know. I let experts stay in this one because there's just so much you can do. But there's essential oil blends that are fantastic for shoulder kind of stuff. So what you do is you get a carrier oil like coconut or arnica oil, and you could put peppermint, lavender, ginger, or marjoram, and then blend all these together, right? So peppermint, lavender, and ginger, let's say. You put it all in, and that would create your topical cream that you would use. Peppermint's fantastic for cooling and analgesics. Lavender calms you. Muscle tension, it also does that as well. It helps with the calming. And of course, we said ginger is a great anti-inflammatory on top of everything else. So that's really fantastic. Turmeric or ginger paste. There's a fresh, so those are pastes that you put all that together. We sell a supplement called Inflicom. It's got turmeric, ginger, and white willow bark. Some major studies that have been around a long time for this last one. I'm not recommending it at all, but do your own research. DMSO. So DMSO is a fascinating one. Time will tell. Ask me off of internet of things, and we can find you some great information on that one. Okay. So let's talk about the last and final piece of all shoulder things. What is it? We did toxins. We did trauma. Hopefully you got some good shoulder exercise out of that. I know I did because I think they're fantastic. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just remember, not everything has to be no pain, no gain type situation, guys. Just remember that. So our last thing is subconscious programs, right? So thoughts that could potentially have some kind of relation to a shoulder injury. Okay. So we learned from the book, Louise Hay. It's an old book. It's another book is, so Louise Hay has two books one's called Heal Your Body. And then the other one is You Can Heal Your Life. And Louise Hay links physical ailments to subconscious emotional patterns or possible probable causes. Okay. So these are just patterns that could show up and kind of manifest themselves as shoulder problems, right? So with shoulder, that's why I like going through these because, okay, let's say we have the shoulder problem. What is the possible cause? This possible cause is our represent. So we're going to tell you what it means, but that doesn't matter. We need the new thought pattern. That's the key. So represents our ability to carry out experiences in life joyously. We make life a burden by our attitude. This can include feeling like you're carrying the weight of adversity or resentment about burdens. So what we want to do is create a new thought pattern or affirmation. And I'll pause here so that you can remember. I want you to write this down. If you got a shoulder problem, put it on a sticky note. We're going to slow this down. This is the new pattern or affirmation. I don't care why it caused it. This is the new pattern we need to fix. I choose to allow all my experiences to be joyous and loving. I choose to allow all my experiences to be joyous and loving. That's pretty cool. So remember that as a pattern for affirmation. Okay, so there's another technique called Psyche. They also have that same thing, the burdens, the shoulders, heavy shoulders. Makes sense with everything in, ancient times, even carrying the weight on your shoulders, Atlas, those kind of things. It's always on the shoulders. So it's carrying things, right? So just remember this. The biggest one is I want you to remember in this realm of thought patterns and those kind of things. I choose to allow my experiences to be joyous and loving. Okay. So why do we go over those? Is because it's all of it. It's one of it. We don't know, right? Could have hurt your shoulder, ate Taco Bell, and had the weight of the world on the shoulder at the same time. Now you have a shoulder problem, right? So why not know all the alls? And the innate intelligence, once we clear it, right? So we say, okay, what if we go into this thought that we know that all these experiences are joyous and loving, right? All of a sudden our shoulders start to improve because that weight is, getting off of those shoulders too, right? So that's that's the biggest thing. Our goal every night on a Sunday night is to bring and get innate intelligence to work better than it did yesterday. Okay. And with your shoulders, you can prove it to yourself. Some people have some of the worst shoulder arthritis conditions I've ever seen, but they still are there. They're still coming to work. They're still doing all those things, right? And so one of the biggest things and the key to what I really want you to do is try some things. Never give up on it, right? Even if that motion's not there, eventually it's going to be there. I always like leaving with the last story. Rachel's ma tante Paulette, who one of these days will be on here. I got to grab her. She hurt her shoulder really bad. And we went up for vacation and she could not lift that shoulder probably above anything above. It was low, right? I showed her you want to live longer, and jokingly say, okay, do it every day. And she's one that like really will listen for sure. And, but you never know. As a doctor, you're kind of like, yeah, you'll forget or whatever. Right. So I see her a few months later and it was remarkable how far she's gone with just that exercise. That you want to live longer. She just kept working at it, just did it every single day. You don't have to hurt yourself doing it. You just have to do it every day. Then the innate intelligence was responding. It actually fixed it. It actually got it to a really good point. Did she need more? I don't know. Like it's one of those, the shoulder thing's going to be there. How long did it take to get there? But if you can improve it, that is our goal ultimately. So with that said, I'll see you Tuesday night. Do not forget, Tuesday night is going to be this interview. It's going to be super fun. Mary is awesome. I can't wait till you guys see her adventures. So remember, Wednesday night, we will not be live because I am going to make some cheese. It's going to be fantastic. So with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. It's supposed to be beautiful this week. So I hope you get out there, move those shoulders around, get a little thing going, get it warmed up in the morning. You'll be happy you did. All right, guys, have a great week.